Hey guys, it is January 22nd and there is a balance patch. This one, excuse me for, I'm not going to do any special editing, any thumbnails or anything. I'm getting ready for the Heroes Celebrity Clash League, which will be tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. So I'm going to be casting that with Bahamut. And so I'm going to be actually getting ready for that. I'm going to make this really quick. I'm going to cover this as fast as I can while also going through and just doing a quick mention about how that's going to affect the meta in Storm League. And I probably won't do too much of a mention of the competitive side unless it makes a really big difference, like a hero that's used all the time in competitive. Otherwise, I'm going to focus on how this affects Storm League and what this is going to mean for everyone, because we do have a balance today. So with that being said, the Toys event will be extended until April 7th. That's a pretty good number for us to go to. We have some changes to tanks. Beetlejuice is increasing the health of the beetles from 20 to 40%. Hive Master is increasing your healing from 37 to 50 on your first ult. Bonus cocoon duration is being increased. Both of these were pretty much, honestly, you're still going to pick Rewind. I'm just going to skip past it. Arthas Deathlord, additional functionality, increases the range of Death Coil. I mean, there it is. We took it away. It's back. Yeah. Cho'Gall has been pretty weak even after the buffs that they've gotten, and they are just giving them a couple more buffs. Level Upheaval on a 40-second cooldown is actually insane. Upheaval is an amazing engage. If your team has even a little bit of follow-up, it's really, really powerful. 40-second cooldown could make them viable. Chen. Healing from this, I mean, they can buff this all they want. They need to either trigger off of the flame damage repeating, or it needs to be 5%, and I said this when it came out. Withering Flame, spell power reduction has been increased. This is getting, again, it already at 50% was a situational pick, but overall, this is just buffing underutilized talents, so we may see them slowly push ahead, but his standard builds are likely still what we're going to be seeing. Deathwing has been absolutely dominant. In fact, if Auriel or Deathwing wasn't banned, it was almost, not guaranteed, but it was a really good chance that that person, whoever got Deathwing or Auriel, would just win the game. With 60% win rates in, actually in Masters, if you sorted by that, it was getting up to the 75% win rates, depending on filters. His health is being reduced, his regen is being reduced to compensate for that, his incinerate damage is being reduced, onslaught damage is being reduced, damage at the end of the lunge is being reduced, lava burst periodic damage is being increased. This is in his World Breaker form, and World Breaker was so weak a lot of people would never shift out of Destroyer form, so they are buffing World Breaker form while nerfing Destroyer form. Molten Blood and healing increased, Draconic Might healing reduced, so they're reducing the healing from the, actually, I believe I just had Deathwing pulled up. Draconic Might is being reduced while Molten Blood is being increased. Dragon Soul is being left where it is. Heat Wave, damage after using Incinerate is being reduced from 16 to 14 per second, while Dragon's Ire is also being reduced. Firestorm Z, cooldown reduction is being increased, while Skyfall cooldown reduction is being reduced, down from 1.5 to 1 second. Burn Beneath My Shadow, bonus damage is being reduced from 100 to 80. That is your ultimate upgrade. No changes in later talents, primarily changes in these early talents. Not too bad of nerfs. I still would expect to see more nerfs in Destroyer form and more buffs in World Breaker, but that's just me. I would still say he's ban-worthy for this moment, but he's getting a little bit more manageable, I will say that much. Thrall, Rolling Thunder, Q, bonus damage and healing on heroic targets increased from 2 to 3%. I said that it was a cool talent, but 2% on one target is not really worth anything. I still don't know if this will be better than Echo until it's up to closer to 4 or 5% per target, but that's just me. Abathur, he's in a rather weak spot right now, and I've made a video, I don't know if it's come out yet, where I've been playing him since the experience changes, and I just don't really like exactly where he's at. He needs buffs to compensate for that. So, Locust Strain, Locust's health has been increased, additional functionality, Locusts deal more damage, and I apologize if you guys hear stuff outside, they're mowing the lawn, nothing I can do about that. Locusts deal 50% more damage to enemy structures. Wow, that's actually pretty big. That's just a baseline increase. It's going to allow you to siege harder. Envenomed nests, additional functionality. Enemies who are hit by toxic nests have their armor reduced by 10. That's interesting. This talent used to also do damage over time, so it would do damage over time and also reduce armor. Reinforced carapace, shield amount has been increased after the shield nerfs. This is pretty decent. They actually did the opposite of this a little bit ago. Volatile Mutations, healing increased from 75 to 100% of damage dealt. Again, cool. I mean, this is a rough talent. It's very, very high risk, high reward. So adding to that is just more of it. Evolutionary Link, shield amount increased from 25 to 35% of maximum health. Every little bit that keeps getting reset. So overall, these changes, the only ones that are really throwing me off is this one and this one. Whether or not they're going to change the meta, the rest of it likely won't make any major differences. As far as healers, Resurrect, cast range is being reduced, cast time is being increased. So now it's going to take longer for you to set it up, and you're going to be in a riskier spot to get this going, but it is a very, very powerful ult. This is going to make it to where if you're in fights that are punishing people who are getting close, that gives a great counterplay to it, where if she goes to resurrect something, you actually have some counterplay rather than her just quickly resurrecting something and then moving on. It does give a reason to go for Crystal Aegis. So, that's pretty good. Charism, basic attack damage being increased. Transcendence, here level 1. Movement speed, bonus duration is being increased on all 3 of them. Air allies, cooldown is being increased. Health is being increased. Duration is being reduced. Charges are being reduced. Additional functionality now gives... Whoa there! Level 4 talent giving 15% spell power. That is interesting. What could that be abused with? Early spell power. What are some combos that get them low but 15% from actually getting a kill? That is very, very interesting. I like it, and I think it would be cool for some. I mean, early Kel'Thuzad combos, if you could combine just a little bit of damage and some extra spell power. Now remember that spell power works weird with Kel'Thuzad because he has 75% increased spell power, so giving 15% is actually only going to give closer to 10%. Because it's probably under 10% actually, because of how spell power works. That's interesting, because it's additive, not multiplicative. Long story short, that's cool. I'm gonna mess around with this. I think it'll be cool with certain people. I just haven't figured that out yet on who it's gonna be really cool with. Maybe just possibly Jaina. Stukov, bio explosion switch, silence duration increased, additional functionality detonating. Lurking arm also deals 230 damage to enemies caught in explosion. It's cool if you like doing combos with it, but otherwise it's a little odd, because he has other strong talents at 20 now. White Mane, Saintly Grain Staff, damage increased from 50 to 55, won't make a difference in her overall playstyle. Maev, new functionality on Cruel Chains, 25% movement speed for 2.5 pull. Damage is increased by 30% for each tethered target beyond the first, up to 120%. It's going to be easier to use, I'll just say that much. Less potential, easier to use. Vengeful Knives, new functionality for 5 seconds after teleporting with Spirit of Vengeance. Fan of Knives deals 1% max health as bonus damage. Increase the damage bonus by an additional 1% for each enemy hero hit. Against heavy frontline, this is cool, but I just don't know if it's that cool, personally. Samuro, quest reward bonus damage has been increased. Armor bonus has been increased. After his changes, he's seemed a little bit weaker, but I don't know. We'll have to see. Azmodan. I've actually been saying that his summons build is his only viable build, so let's see what they do with that. Summon Demon Warrior, basic attack damage increased, damage per second increased, all shall burn increased, final explosion increased, Battleborn, reduce the mana cost of the warriors, bombardment, basic attacks duration increased, and heroes hit. This just buffs the build that I already was recommending on him. I will likely make a video for him in the next maybe month or so. Mephisto, malicious intent spell power bonuses increased, animosity bonus duration increased but from 0.5 to 1, no longer increase the duration of lightning nova as a resort to basic attacks. Additional functionality increases the maximum bonus damage of lightning nova. This is all pretty interesting, but I don't think it's going to replace the blow up build that is in Q build. Ravenous Spirit damage is being increased. That's cool. It's the riskier talent. You should be rewarded for the risk that you're taking by casting it. Orphea, Growing Nightmare, More functionality increases the damage of the explosion. Now shows crit kickers when hitting 2. That's cool. And Central Strength no longer grants additional chaos. So again, buffing underutilized. And then, it slows, kind of nice. Fright is being removed, and new talent, Chaotic Assault, basic attacks against heroes while having 3 stacks of chaos deals an additional amount of damage. You can get a little burstier. Lurking Terror, additional functionality. If Chomp is cast in this way, then it slows the hero's hit by 70%. That's a big slow for something that's just already a good talent. Probius. I don't really follow a lot on Probius, so I can't tell you how it's going to affect the meta. Maximum bonus damage for enemies hit reduced by 50 to 40%. Additional functionality reduces the cooldown of the pulse by 0.5 plus an additional 0.5 seconds whenever Rift explodes. Tower defense, new functionality reduces the cooldown of photon cannons by 4 seconds when Probius damages an enemy hero with a disruption pulse or a warp rift. That's interesting actually, because I feel like that can get you multiple towers out at once. Let me just double check that really quick. I'm going to pull up Probius. Ranged Assassins. Where is the little probe? So the cooldown is 15 seconds. And then when you take the Tower Defense talent, reduce the cooldown by 4 seconds when Disruption Pulse or Warp Rift hits. So Disruption Pulse is your Q. And that's going to hit once when it goes through. And then, is it untalented on the way back if you take this talent where it returns? Because that could be interesting if it hits and then immediately hits again. You can immediately always shave off 4 seconds from the one, but possibly more than that. Something I actually want to test right now, because I am curious to see how that's going to work. Normally I don't do this on any of the patches, but this one's interesting to me because this could really build up a very specific build for him. So let's just say, for instance, this is the build that you went, and you put down a trait, and then you put down a Q. 1 reduces it, return. Oh, I completely missed the toggle cooldowns. So once again, let's drop down an E, a Q, and let's see if it returns, if it lowers it. It does lower it again. So if you were to drop down an E, hit 3 targets, and then have it return, or even 2 targets and then return. Let's say you just hit 2 targets, it returns, and it shaves off the rest of that cooldown. That is interesting. So what are you giving up by doing that? You are giving up photon cannons do 35% more damage, can see over obstacles and reveal cloaked units for the chance to return it. It's probably not worth it because the return's likely only going to hit 1 extra person. So you'll probably still go this talent, but having this talent in there is kind of neat. That's cool. I like it. Alright, so back to the patch notes. They're removing Repulsor on W, and Interference, they are moving that over. So that's pretty neat. Sargent Hammer, Barricade, additional functionality reduces the cooldown of Concussion Blast, so you can get more barricades off. Pulse Detection, or sorry, the Detonation Core, additional functionality, melee attacks against heroes. That's my notification, not yours. Grant 5 mana, reduce the cooldown of Spider Mines. More Spider Mines is cool. And then they did some bug fixes as well. Overall, that is what we're looking at for the balance patches. 2 things, guys, before we go. Make sure to check out the Heroes Hearth Celebrity Clash League that is happening today at 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. And also, I'm doing a push currently to try to improve Heroes Profile and HOTS log stats. So if you could please head over to HOTS API, upload all of your replays. I want to get these statistics looking pretty good so we can start having a little bit of better numbers when we are looking at different hero guides. In case like I can't keep my videos up to date, we want to make sure you guys have places to go to have that. So if you guys could please do those 2 things, check out the Celebrity Clash League while also checking out and downloading the Heroes API uploader. Thank you guys so much, and feel free to check out my other videos.